It's been said that there's a time and a place for everything. Some believe it means that at the perfect moment, in the perfect environment, the right people come together to smash through obstacles and surpass limits until the extraordinary becomes reality. As our gaze shifts ever deeper into new realities, the focus remains on space, or more importantly, on spaces, the perfect environment for technology and computer science to continue redefining what's possible. Spaces for inclusion, to unite the brightest minds from around the globe. Different faces facing and overcoming the challenges faced by the world. Spaces for collaboration, where people from different backgrounds converge to forge the path ahead. Spaces for discovery, to look deeper, learning what we're made of and what we were made for. Spaces for making, where ideas and dreams take form and give hope. Spaces to take to the skies, to take a breath. And spaces to have your breath taken away. To the many who have believed in this dream and given so that this structure could rise, we come together today so that ceilings, walls, obstacles, and expectations may be shattered. Because to be the future, the time is now, the place is here, and everything is possible.
Please welcome President of the University of Maryland, Wallace D. Lowe.
Good morning, Maryland. Welcome to the dedication of the Brendan Iribe Center for Computer Science and Engineering. This magnificent building will be the home for the Computer Science Department, which is ranked number 10 in the nation in its excellence. Ranked number 1 in the number of computer science students that it graduates, and there are 4,000 students, the largest program in the nation. And it is the number 1 department in the nation in the number of women students in computer science. I'd like to begin by recognizing a number of distinguished guests. They were the ones who made possible this magnificent facility. And I would ask that you please withhold your applause. I'm going to read some names, and then at the end, we can all join in a round of applause. Because this is a public-private undertaking, and without the combination of the private and the public sectors, this could not have happened. The Governor of the state, Larry Hogan. The President of the Maryland Senate, Mike Miller. And I note with great sadness the absence of the late Speaker of the House of Delegates, Mike Bush. The Chancellor of the University System of Maryland, Robert Corrett. And this building began with the vision of Terps, who were co-founders of Oculus VR, the leading technology company that produces virtual reality software and hardware. Brendan Iribe, Michael Antonov, the late Andrew Reese, and their parent and his parents, Robert and Dana Reese, are here today, and many other private donors and University of Maryland faculty who have made this building possible. There are also campus officials that I need to recognize. Marianne Ranking, the provost, and the senior provost, and and in charge of academic affairs. Daryl Pines, the dean of the A. James Clark School of Engineering. Amitabh Varshney, the dean of the College of Computer Science Mathematics and Natural Sciences, Jackie Lewis, our Vice President for University Relations. Please join me in a round of applause for them. Winston Churchill famously said, "We shape our buildings, and afterwards, the buildings shape us." He said it in the context of the reconstruction of the House of Commons, which, as you know, was bombed during World War II. And many people wanted to expand and make it a much larger building. But his idea was that when you design a building, over time, the people who occupied the building will be influenced in their behaviors, in their social interactions, by the design of that building. And specifically, he recognized that the House of Commons should be back to its original small size, not an expanded house. Because the rubbing of shoulders with people face to face is at the heart of lawmaking and of politics. This magnificent facility of glass and steel with wide open vistas is just the opposite. The most spectacular thing about this building is its wide open spaces. There is not a single building on this campus that has the openness of the Iribe Center. And it's not just because it's aesthetically pleasing. Because what this openness symbolizes, what it makes possible, people of different backgrounds, computer science, engineering, the arts, business, people from research, innovators, the business community. It's an open space where people come together, diverse backgrounds, innovate together, and make transformation possible. In other words, if one wants a climate, a culture of innovation, it has to be open, it has to be expansive, and it brings people together. In that sense, that building will shape the future. The second very important thing is its location. You will notice that it is right on the edge of Baltimore Avenue, the north-south corridor. And so, on the one hand, this building and all of this wide open windows, they face north-south. It faces north-south. What's the left? The left is the west side. The west side is where all the research and the education is occurring on this campus. And then on the east side is our Discovery District. That's where all these high-tech companies are now coming to College Park. The Iribe Center stands right in the middle. The symbolism of the Iribe Center, in addition to its wide open spaces, is a bridge between traditional academy and the technological future of economic development of the state of Maryland. So let me just conclude by saying, thank you all for coming. Thank you for making possible the dedication of this fantastic facility. It is a place where inspirational ideas from students and faculty will become transformative technology that will create the future. Thank you.
Please welcome the Honorable Larry Hogan, Governor of Maryland.
Good morning. What a beautiful day in College Park. If the tent starts to shake, that's just virtual reality. Don't worry about that, Win. Good morning. It's great to be back here in College Park at the University of Maryland for this incredible and exciting day. 3 years ago, I was really pleased to be here on Maryland Day for the groundbreaking of this wonderful project. And today, I couldn't be more excited to be back here as we officially open this state-of-the-art, transformational Brendan Iribe Center for Computer Science and Engineering here in College Park. What a great day it is today. I want to congratulate President Lowe, Brendan Iribe and his entire family, the Brin family, everyone who's been involved in this tremendous achievement for the University of Maryland, for our entire state. The Iribe Center is going to be a point of national prominence and something that we can all be proud of. As governor, my top priority has been education. We've been committed to advancing computer science and STEM education to ensure that our schools and universities are creating opportunities that pave a clear pathway to careers and produce students who have both the skills and the opportunities that they need to be prepared for the 21st century. That's why we were thrilled to work with Senate President Miller and Speaker Mike Bush, the legislature, to deliver over $104 million to support this very important project. This center will be celebrated as a point of pride for our state's flagship university and will ensure that Maryland continues to be a national and global leader for cutting-edge technology and innovation. And I just want to congratulate every single person who has been involved in making this exciting achievement become a reality. And at this time, I'd like to invite Brendan Iribe to come forward so that I could commemorate this day by presenting him with an official governor's citation signed today and dated today by me, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Secretary of State of the State of Maryland. Brendan?
Please welcome the Honorable Mike Miller, Maryland Senate President.
Folks, I'll be very brief. Today's a big day. This is Maryland Day on the College Park campus. You have students looking out at the campus, seeing if they want to come here to College Park for the next 4 years. You've got a red and white football game. You got Maryland men's lacrosse playing Hopkins. You got women's lacrosse playing Hopkins. It's just a great day. But of course, the highlight is this dedication right here. You know, occasionally I get to the hotel across the street, and I always go up to the top floor, and I look across, and I see the engineering building. I see the chemistry building. You know, I see the Ed St. John building, and you know what reminds me of? Dubai. Dubai. College Park reminds me of Dubai. Can you imagine that? Well, where else are you going to have a rainforest? You know, a rainforest on top of a building. You know what I mean? And this is the crown jewel in the crown, quite frankly. This is the entrance to Route 1, Brendan, and we just thank you. We thank all the donors. Dr. Lowe, we thank you for your vision. You know, it was easy for the General Assembly, Mike Bush, and myself to say, look, we need to fund this wonderful project. Governor, thank you. We also want to thank the Board of Trustees, the regents, the legislators, Jim Rosapep, who's a resident senator for this area. Everybody bought into your vision, Brendan, and your family's vision for what this could become. And we're just so proud. We look at all the other campuses around the United States. We see we're number 10 right now. If we're number 10 right now, this building is going to put us in the top 5. Because this is a capital project. Students are going to say, I want to come. I want to be here. Computer sciences, that's where the world needs to be. Thank you so much for your vision. God bless you. You know, we love University of Virginia. They won the basketball championship. You know, we love UVA. We love Charlottesville. God was good to old Virginia, where he blessed each hill and glade. But you look today, this beautiful day, he came to College Park and he sat right down and stayed. God bless you. Thank you so much. It's a privilege and honor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a privilege and honor.
Please welcome Robert Corrett, Chancellor of the University System of Maryland.
Well, again, let me say welcome, and in my case, on behalf of the university system and the Board of Regents. We have two regents with us today, maybe more out there that I didn't see, but Langston Frazier, the student regent, is here, and Barry Gossett, who many of you know is also here. We're very pleased to be part of this event, and I'm speaking on behalf of Linda Gooden, the chair of the board, who has done a remarkable job over the last several months. Brendan, we all want to thank you for the vision and what you've seen possible here for the future of the University of Maryland. Things are happening here at Maryland in so many different ways that we see from a higher ed perspective. Better research, better education, better student success. And that's what these things are all about, and that's what this kind of facility can help us keep doing. This campus brings in over $500 million a year in research already. Almost half of what is brought in system-wide, just a dramatic increase over the last 5 years. This campus has had greater and greater demand for student access from an educational perspective, and we are growing the campus every year, even though the campus tries to dampen that a bit. It grows every year because of that demand. And most importantly, we have student success. We have one of the highest graduation rates in the country as it relates to public higher education institutions, and that is something that's critical to the future of higher ed and to this country as a whole. You know, I spent 10 years in Silicon Valley at a university out there, and when I first moved out there from Baltimore, people would say to me, what's different in Silicon Valley? And I would say there's sort of two obvious things. One is a lot more venture money that happens to be in that area, but the other one was the culture of the valley itself. You know, the Hewletts and Packards, the Varian brothers, the Jobs and the Wozniaks. These had gone on for decades, and what we're doing here in Maryland is creating an innovation, entrepreneurial ecosystem, and this building is going to be a huge part of it that allows us to create that culture for the future here in Maryland. Whether it's research, applied research, tech transfer, some of the disciplines that are out there on the horizon like AI, machine learning, and obviously augmented reality, it's going to happen here at the University of Maryland. And I share the vision that has been shared by the governor, the president, and the Senate president. It's a top 15 public campus, a top 10 computer science campus. We want those rankings to go up and up and up. It's good for all of us. It's good for the state of Maryland, and we're all here to make that happen more and more into the future. Thanks for having me here today.
In this world, there exists an energy that can catalyze us to accomplish incredible things. That energy is the power of people working together. We come together today to celebrate that energy, an energy that lives in the faculty and staff that helped bring this building to life. Led by the selflessness and dedication of Professor Bill Pugh, who spearheaded giving with a personal donation of over $1 million, believing that ambitious minds need spaces to make, to reset, and to set ideas in motion. 36 additional faculty and staff banded together, pledged an additional $1 million, and tapped into their networks of alumni. Bill Pugh, Samir Cooler, and Stacy Sickles-Locke traveled the country to share the vision with alumni and friends. Professor Jeff Hollingsworth led the original building committee and was succeeded by Professor Neil Spring, who worked closely with the architect and the construction company. Altogether, the energy of these individuals powered the Brendan Iribe Center for Computer Science and Engineering to take shape and rise. The power of people working together is always in action at the University of Maryland. And this building is a shining example of what we can accomplish and why we will be the future.
Please welcome Amitabh Varshney, Professor of Computer Science and Dean of the University Maryland College of Computer, Mathematical, and Natural Sciences.
Governor Hogan, Senate President Miller, Chancellor Corrett, President Lowe, and all of our esteemed guests, As you just saw in the video, the power of people working together has always been one of our strengths here at the University of Maryland. The Brendan Iribe Center for Computer Science and Engineering is a shining example of what we can accomplish when we work together to turn a fearless vision into reality. This building would not have been possible in such a short amount of time without significant support from the state and the generous donors like Brendan Iribe, Michael Antonov, Liz Iribe, Jagdeep and Roshni Singh, and Bill Pugh and Lisa Orange. Their generosity set in motion a cascade of giving. More than 100 alumni, parents, corporate leaders, faculty, staff, students, and friends came together to invest $38 additional million in this vision. As you heard in this video, 37 of those gifts came from faculty and staff members whose donations together totaled an unprecedented $2 million. The power of all these donors working together has created a best-in-class space for research, education, innovation, and collaboration. The new home for the Department of Computer Science and the University of Maryland Institute for Advanced Computer Studies, known as UMIACS, and the Maryland Robotics Center is just breathtaking. We owe a great debt of gratitude to our campus leaders, President Wallace Lowe, Provost Mary Ann Rankin, and several others who worked tirelessly to bring the building from concept to reality. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention the contributions of the Computer Science Chair, Ming Lin, and UMIACS Director, Mihai Pop, who are helping forge a path to be the future. Many of you also helped us get here today, and to all of you, I say thank you. Thank you from all of us. We have a lot to be proud of. We are, as you have heard, a top 10 nationally ranked department in computer science. Not only that, we have a very diverse student body, which includes more than 700 female computer scientists and 450 students of color. We have a strong community of alumni, faculty, staff, students, and friends who share our passion for innovation and our dedication to collaboration and discovery. While it is important to take our time today to reflect, it's as important to look to the future. Today, we launch a new, energizing era in our history. In this new era, we will continue to expand our legacy of leadership in computer science, in research areas like cybersecurity, machine learning, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and data science. In education, with classroom spaces that offer a state-of-the-art learning environment and the opportunity for group collaboration. With our students, who will go on to be tomorrow's tech leaders and innovators, they will transform life as we know it. I look forward to seeing our vision for the future of computing come to life in the Brendan Iribe Center for Computer Science and Engineering. I hope you will continue with us in our journey to be the future. Thank you.
Please welcome Jamie Matthews, a 2018 University of Maryland alumna and a current computer science graduate student.
Hi, my name is Jamie Matthews, and I'm a graduate student in computer science here at UMD. I first came to UMD for my undergraduate degree as a biological sciences major, but added a computer science major late in my freshman year after taking an introductory course. Taking that course, I fell in love with both the field and the UMD computer science community. My junior year, I was humbled to be chosen to receive the Brendan Iribe Scholarship. This scholarship impacted me in many big ways. For one, it provided me the financial freedom to explore computer science research, a field that, as many of you might know, comes with a slightly smaller paycheck than someone in industry might see. but I ended up loving research, and I'm now hoping to pursue a PhD in the future. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Secondly, as a woman in computer science, this scholarship provided me an incredible amount of confidence. I felt like I truly belonged in the community, and it reminded me that there were others who were confident in my success. This incredible feeling of support and community is, in my opinion, one of the most special things about the UMD Computer Science Department. In fact, I do a lot of volunteering for the college that has me meet with high school students to discuss my experience as a computer science major, and I often get asked what my favorite thing about UMD is. My answer is always the same: the community. The community is so supportive. I know that no matter what I do, faculty, classmates, and alumni will be there to help me. The perfect example of this strong, supportive community is Brendan Iribe. Brendan has given back to and supported UMD in so many ways. He makes it a priority to come back to UMD hackathons and meet with students. He made the Iribe Center possible with his generous gift. He works to widen the circle of opportunity for all UMD students to get involved with computer science through his diversity and inclusion initiative. I believe that the best way to inspire others is by example, and I know that Brendan's actions have and will continue to inspire others to embody his same spirit of community. And doing so will be even easier now with the Brendan Iribe Center for Computer Science and Engineering. In this state-of-the-art building, the spirit of community will thrive. With large open spaces, rooms for collaboration, and areas for building, it will be easier than ever for students and faculty to share skills, teach one another, and grow together. I cannot wait to see what our community accomplishes in this new space. I know that with strong members like Brendan among us, the possibilities are truly limitless. Thank you.
There are those among us who leave their mark on the world and find a way to leave us with even more after they're gone. Andrew Reese left us with code that revolutionized gaming, with memories of his quiet presence and astounding intellect, and with photography that perfectly captures the wonder of nature. But perhaps most significantly, Andrew left us with his colleagues and friends, including Brendan Iribe and Michael Antonov, who named a scholarship in his honor. The Andrew Reese Scholarship then inspired these loved ones to leave their own legacies at Maryland. Brendan and Michael created their own scholarships for talented students. Brendan's mother endowed 3 faculty positions, and Andrew's family initiated an endowment to support student-led courses and innovative teaching. But most impressive, the generosity of Andrew's loved ones created the foundation for the Brendan Iribe Center for Computer Science and Engineering, which includes the Antonov Auditorium. Collaborative spaces that echo Andrew's talent and focus, and that empower young minds to continue to define and redefine what's possible. But within the center, there's no place Andrew's presence can be felt more than in the Reese Gallery and Rooftop Park, where everyone can connect with the serenity and wonder of nature that Andrew so deeply loved, forever imprinted on his photographs. From all around the world, we gather here in College Park to recognize and celebrate the life of Andrew Reese and the contributions made in his honor that led Brendan Iribe, Michael Antonov, and many more generous donors to build this space where we can fondly look back, create today, and be the future.
Please welcome Michael Antonov, a 2003 computer science graduate and lead donor for the Brendan Iribe Center for Computer Science and Engineering.
Wow, this is an emotional moment to come in right after this video. Have lots of great memories. Actually, my story in computer science and in University of Maryland started with me first moving into the dorms at Denton 7, where I was right across from Brendan. And what impressed me at the time is a whole variety of students who were there in terms of their different backgrounds and interests. And shortly after, I actually met Andrew, and we became great friends. He's a huge part of the story of Oculus. And what really brought us together was passion for computer games and computer graphics. So I remember those moments where we walked around nearby Denton Hall and kind of the lunch area in the bottom, talked about programming languages and what techniques we can make in the game engines to really kind of take the next step. So there were many people I met, and a few other things I remember was this particular room in Denton where there were two guys, really deep nerds, and the cool part of their room was actually this loft. There were people who could sleep on top, so they had a bit of more of a cozy space in the bottom. And this space, they had lots of computers, like soft servers, many more than you really should, and they were running IRC chat, and they're probably running some things on those servers which were against campus policy. So I'm not going to tell you what their names were, but they did introduce me to the internet. Campus had good connection back then. I didn't. MP3s and music. Now, in terms of classes, I took a pretty normal set. So it was like programming, algorithms, other backgrounds. There's a couple I remember. One in particular was computer engineering. And there I learned about things such as flip-flops and gates, and it was really awesome. I think it's great I know it. I've never used this knowledge in my life. But there are some other things which I did use, such as Cornelius' class in computer vision, which gave me a little bit of background as we dove into things in Oculus. So come to think of it, I didn't really use the capabilities and resources available to me here in Maryland to the full potential with great staff. I focused on working with Brendan, my own projects, and I think it turned out all right. But the thing is, I do come to see and value having this kind of great talent and support. And one of the reasons it's exciting to be a student in this time and space is because we're a moment in computer science in our understanding of the universe where things which are science fiction are starting to come to life. We're talking about self-driving cars being here soon. We were lucky enough to be at the right moment to kick off VR, and augmented reality with glasses which help us live are not too far nearby. And what that takes is a lot of work and teamwork. And I was one of the guys involved in this tracking system in Oculus, where you could move in space and you detect the features of things in the room and figure out where you are. And that took lots of linear algebra. It took lots of machine learning algorithms and type of stuff which is not easy. And it takes a lot of learning. It takes a lot of effort. So while it's exciting to be a student, I feel like it's also more challenging now. Because back then you could just learn programming, things were simple. Now there's a lot more things. So it's why it's so important to have a building like this and the faculty which it attracts so that we can take on these next-gen challenges. So that's what makes me exciting. And there's one more thing I wanted to touch on. We talked a lot about makerspaces, how for Oculus, it was very important to bring different disciplines together, of electrical engineering and programming and optics and whatnot. And the Brendan Iribe Center has these kind of facilities, which is amazing. But there's a few other areas which I have come to care about, in particular biotechnology and nanotechnology, which I think are going to be a big part in the nearby future. Now, there's been a lot of great progress in research, and I feel like our knowledge has grown exponentially, even though perhaps the effects on our health have not, and abilities haven't quite been as impressive as the knowledge. But I find that in any exponential technology, there's these steps where you have make progress, but it's not very noticeable. And then there's an inflection point, and it suddenly comes, and people start realizing that a lot is happening, and then in the very near future, you are at a point where it's affecting human lives. So this kind of technologies is where programming and computer science is so important, because it takes computers to make all of this work, and it takes talented faculty. So that actually is what this building is around for me. It's bringing University of Maryland and science and making it the center of technologies and sciences which improve human lives. So with that, I'd like to thank the faculty whose generous donations and support made this possible. I mean, honestly, I didn't have to do much. I just had to sign a piece of paper. And it took the work of people such as Stacy, who shepherded and called me hundreds of times, and Brendan, and organized everyone, and Bill Pugh, who I'd like to give a special thank you to. His ideas inspired some of the collaborative nature of the auditorium and the space, and he really worked endlessly here. And there's many other people, Governor Larry Hogan. Without the state support, which it invested in this, this wouldn't have been possible. And Amitabh Varshney, Dr. Wallace, and all the deans, and amazing faculty here. And finally, well, certainly I'd like to thank Brendan and Liz, whose place I lived at and supported me. And there are actually many people from Oculus and Skillform, our earlier company staff here. Without you guys, I wouldn't have been here. And then, of course, my parents, Natalia and Michael Margulis. Thank you for bringing me into science and for really supporting my interest in technology, making me who I am. And more importantly, not insisting that I become a science professor. So this building actually becomes possible. So it's amazing. I'm super excited.
Please welcome Brendan Iribe, proud alumnus and lead donor for the Brendan Iribe Center for Computer Science and Engineering.
Thank you, guys. It really is an emotional moment, both watching Andrew's video, which I watched several times to make sure I wouldn't get too emotional beforehand, but seeing that and then just seeing all of you out here today. This is literally all of my friends and family coming together. I think I'm missing about a dozen people that I know closely. Everybody is here, and it just means so much that you guys came out. So thank you guys for being here. It's a really important moment, and it's great to see everybody. Before I begin, I do want to highlight, I think you've heard a few times, that the state of Maryland really stepped up and made this building possible. While I was a catalyst to help get things started, the state of Maryland was the biggest donor for this building. They put forth over $100 million. And I just would like to take a moment to really thank the governor and the rest of the team for making this possible. Thank you, guys. And what you may not know is that it was not in their budget. They didn't plan to spend $100 million on a new computer science building. And they still made it happen. We went and talked to them, and they actually didn't wait to redo the budget in the future and to come to the next cycle. They dove right in and made it happen right when we stepped up. So it really is here because of the state of Maryland and the governor. So thank you, guys. So if you've ever heard me talk before, you know I like to share stories and lessons and usually talk a little bit about the past and then how it connects to the future. So the first story I want to share is about friendship. And most of you here today are friends of mine and people that are really important to me. But I'd like to touch on a very important friendship that really led to this moment. And that was getting to Denton 7. There are even other people here from Denton 7. But when I got to Denton 7, Michael Antonov was directly across the hall from me. And he would come in and sometimes, I wouldn't say bother, but jump right in and say, so Brendan, what are you doing? What are you up to? And I was very busy at the time. I was very stressed, actually, a little bit, because I was trying to manage a job and classwork and have a social life. And Mike would just walk in and look over my shoulder. What are you working on? At one point, he kind of proclaimed, Brendan, we should make a game together. And I thought, man, the last thing I can do right now is make a video game. But Mike just had this incredible enthusiasm for computer science, for programming, and for gaming. And it was very infectious, and it was a lot of fun. And then a few weeks later, after we got to Denton 7, Mike disappeared, and suddenly he was gone. And he had been relocated out of that dorm room across the hall because it was an overcommitted, overcrowded dorm at the time, and there were 3 people in a single dorm instead of just the 2. So as work heated up for me, I started to wonder where Mike was, so eager to do something with me, and boy did I need help. And so there was this one moment where I was driving down Route 1, right outside, just actually very close to here, and I see this fellow kind of bobbing up and down, walking up and down the road, and I thought, man, that looks a little bit like Mike, and I kind of slowed down, and I hadn't seen him for a few months, and I slowed down and looked, and sure enough, it was Mike. So I pulled in, I think it was the gas station at the time, and I said, Mike, hey, come here. I haven't seen you for a while. Where are you going? And he was walking up to the CQ Bank, I think, to cash a check for his programming job that he had, and I thought, well, come with me, I'll take you up there, that sounds interesting, but I'm working on something even more interesting. And I'm working at this company, Quatrefoil, on this project, and I sure could use help. And so right away, we started talking about what he was doing, what I was doing, and this time I wasn't gonna lose him. So I drove him back to the dorm, where he was, and he started to show me what he had done in the past, what he had created. And this is somebody who literally created his own operating system modification. He created his own video games. And I'm thinking, you created your own like Galactica and all these different games. Why didn't you just buy a game? Well, we couldn't really afford games. My gosh. Okay. Well, how did you learn how to create all this software? Where are your books? And he points over to this stack of notebooks, the kind of black and white speckled notebook that you would write in, those composition books. And I thought, well, those aren't computer books. What do you mean? And I look and open it, and he has this very fine print written. And he has literally, I said, what are these? And he goes, well, I would go to the library and I would copy all of the important material out of the computer book. And I was like, well, why didn't you just buy a computer book? Well, I couldn't really afford to buy computer books. And I'm thinking, okay, 1, Mike is a genius. Number 2, we need to build something together. We need to help Quatrefoil, but we probably need to start our own company and do something even bigger together. So sure enough, a few weeks later, we had started our first company together, Sonic Fusion. Where am I here real quick? So when we kicked off this company, we also needed help. We dove in, and it was a little more than we could all bite off on our own. We were set out to create a new windowing system, something that would compete against Microsoft and Apple. Simple stuff. This is, of course, what Mike really wanted to do, and I thought, well, you've created all these video games, and you're an operating system. I guess we can do this. Okay, let's go for it. And so we're sitting in his dorm room, his new dorm room. I think it was in Ellicott Hall. And this roommate leans over and says, I think I can help you guys too. And that was Andrew. And that was the moment that Andrew joined us. And that was really the moment that the three of us came together and joined together as not just coworkers at Sonic Fusion, but as best friends. And that was a friendship that I had no idea would go on to last decades, would go on to span multiple companies, and would go on to create all of these different important projects, and yet started right here at University of Maryland in the halls freshman year. So you never know what you're going to get out of college, but for me, one of the best gifts was this friendship, and was the friendship of many of the people that are here today. So again, thank you guys for being here. And this building, the Antonov Auditorium and the Reese Park, symbolizes that friendship that we made freshman year here at College Park, and I hope inspires other students to create friendships like that. So that's my first story. Don't worry, there's lots more. So the second story is around living a life of giving. And as long as I can remember, my mom has led a life of giving and helping other people. And if you know her, which many of you do, you know what I mean. I actually struggled with this a little bit as a kid when I was young, because my mom always wanted to go out and help other people. Even if she just met the person, whether it was somebody even on the street or in a grocery store or anywhere, she was just ready to help. And I thought, Mom, why are you helping these people when we need help? We're struggling to make ends meet, and here you are helping other people. I thought, just like, we're not rich. I thought wealthy people help other people, but we're struggling ourselves. What are you doing? But I was really very wrong, and I didn't know how important this lesson and how important this impact was going to be on my life until more recently. So my mom would go out, and again, she would help all the people she knew. She would help her friends. She would help them move. She would help them with rides. If they needed to live, they could come and move in and live with us. We did charge them rent sometimes because we needed help too. But all the different people that I got to meet and see her impact on was very, very special. Then the moment came along where we really needed help, we being Mike and I. So we started this company, and we needed funding. So my mom and my uncle were our two first big investors, because first you hit up your friends and family, and I knew my mom would help. And so along the journey, we actually ended up hitting pretty hard times, and we had really been programming for years. We hadn't made it work yet. We were out of money, and so as it got very, very tight, I would call up my mom in somewhat desperation to make payroll, and she would always, without fail, run to the bank. Either her or Barry, her wonderful husband and partner, the two of them would run to the bank and make a quick transfer to our account. We definitely banked at the same bank. That made it much easier, much faster transfers as I needed. She would make the transfer, and we would just barely make the payroll. And she kept us going for a very long time. Then we hit even harder times. This was a long journey. We were 4 or 5 years of kind of slaving away at this before we had any success. So a few years into it, we needed help, and we were out of money. And so I went to my mom and said, okay, I think I'll move back home because we want to be as tight as we can, and I'm going to bring a friend. And I think my mom might have thought a girlfriend, but no, this is Mike, and Mike, he's going to move in with us, and we're all going to live together here in the house, really cut down on expenses. And sure enough, my mom, open arms, welcomed him in, and just like another son, and we were there together for quite a while. In fact, at one point, I had moved out, and my mom called me up and said, you actually forgot something here at home. And I said, oh, really? What's that? What's in my room? No, well, you forgot a whole person. And sure enough, Mike had stayed living there for a while. And I thought, well, yeah, you have 2 sons now. It's great. So, we really got close. And it was actually interesting. Years later, when we finally did make Sonic Fusion, which we renamed to Scaleform, work, I had the proud moment of being able to call up my mom when we had sold the company, and I said, you know, Mom, we finally made this thing happen, and we're not going to necessarily struggle anymore. We've sold the company, and yes. Okay, the winds are picking up. I don't hear them picking up too much. But okay, I'll wrap up. Only a couple more stories. I'll kind of zip through this a little quicker. So I call her up. We've sold the company, but I thought, Mom, please, don't give away all this money that you get from this. It's not that much, and this is our life savings, so please be careful with it. I didn't have much faith in that, but I was hoping she was going to be careful because I didn't know if this would ever happen again. A few years later, we ended up selling our second company, Gaikai, and I remember calling her up saying, Mom, okay, it actually happened again. She was an investor also, but be careful, don't necessarily give this all away. And again, I didn't have much faith of that. I thought she'd be out helping everybody right away, which she was. And then came the moment where we actually had sold the Oculus to Facebook, and this was a pretty extraordinary event. And I just remember thinking, wow, I'm excited to call my mom. And so I called her up, and it was the first phone call I made. It was a top secret acquisition because it was a public company. And so it was the first phone call I made was to my mom. And I said, Mom, are you sitting down? And she said, oh, no, what's wrong? What happened? That was usually her answer when I said, are you sitting down? Moms always worry. And I said, no, this is good news. Oculus is going to be acquired by Facebook. And now it is time to think about how to help other people and give back. And this is something I'm really happy to share with you, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. So that was one of the proudest moments, and definitely it's something that I know you've gone out and helped so many people, including helping this building be here. So I would just like to take a moment to thank my mom